I like to think I'm not afraid of making a video like this because I know that my views only get less than 5 views, and none of them get past the first minute. And I know that if I want to commit to to pursuing a YouTube channel like this, I need to be able to be vulnerable on camera, and I need to be able to talk about my own experiences. And just aside from trying to give advice, I need to be able to talk about myself, and I need to express myself on video and kind of share my experiences, because that's kind of what these kinds of channels do on YouTube, right? And yes, trigger warning, I will be talking about self-harm and the things that go along with it, like mental health. And I'll just be sharing my experiences because I haven't done that in months. The last time I did that was in months. And I really started doing that in 11th grade until 12th. Basically my whole senior high school. And I wasn't doing it for the whole senior high school. I was doing it in kind of, it felt like seasons where I'd continuously be doing that for months, and I'd stop and I'd go back to it because of something happens, and I continue to do it, and something happens and I stop. And I don't want this video to be kind of me. I also don't want to make cuts in this video. I want this video to be raw, so I'll try not to stutter like that. I'll keep the message straight. I have a hard time talking about this, not because of the experience itself, not because of maybe the wounds that it left or the scars that it left. I have a hard time talking about it because I've never found an explanation for it. I could never pinpoint an exact reason why I started doing it, nor could I pinpoint a reason why I stopped doing it altogether. I can point at scenarios or at events that happened, but there's no way I could state that as a reason. No way I could take an event or something that happened to me and extract a reason from that, a sufficient reason why I would start doing that, even why I would stop doing that. It got to the point where it got to the school, and some people at school had like, some kind of counseling. Like, I had a few meetings, had a test about if I had depression or something like that. I didn't. I had to get a vaccine for tetanus, because maybe they thought that I wasn't using a clean blade, which I was. And just talking about the specifics of it, it's like, my situation never got that bad. The cuts were never that deep. I would never bleed excessively. Until now, there's only like one scar left, and it's barely visible. My arms are clean. I never cut close to the wrist. Not deep enough, rather. And I never cut with a proper blade. And I don't know, I kind of look back at that thinking, oh, what a pussy, you didn't really do it properly, you didn't do it deep enough, you didn't hurt enough as it could have. But I think that's a good thing, that I didn't take it too far, right? And I've always looked back at it like, there was something amusing about it, there was something entertaining about it, how your arm could look nice. I kind of just like the look of it, I think. It's not that I was glamorizing it or fetishizing it or anything like that. I think what it was is that I wanted to feel vulnerable, and I wanted people to notice that. Even though I hid it from people, there was this kind of nice feeling I'd get when someone noticed it and someone showed that they cared for me. And not that I was chasing only that. I think the reason for me doing that is much deeper than that, but that's something that kind of made me want to do it more, and made me feel like people actually cared for me, and I think that's just a nice thing to know. Looking back on a previous video I made about your core being delicate, I think maybe I only did it because I wanted to prove how delicate I actually am and how vulnerable I can be, how fragile the body is. And maybe when I saw those red lines on my arm, it made me think that I am fragile and I am delicate like that. And it kind of made me think that I was strong enough to admit that, or something. I was strong enough to admit that I am vulnerable, and through that act I'm kind of able to express that. And I'm able to feel the raw pain, and I'm able to feel it in my body. Maybe it was the pain that I was feeling, the state that my mental health was in, and your body kind of reflects that. I was feeling so much difficulty and so much struggle in my head, that I wanted to kind of balance it out by feeling that pain in my body as well. Or I kind of wanted the full experience of that pain and I wanted to drown in it. I don't know if there's much else to talk about, but I'm just kind of amazed at how, no matter how much I research about it, no matter how much journaling I've done, I don't know why I did it. And I know that I stopped because I stopped for the better. That's an easy way to say it, but I felt like I didn't need to do it anymore. And that kind of implies that I was in a state of my life where I had to resort to that. And you like to think it's a common thought to think that people do that because it's a reflection of their mental health. And for sure, my mental health, that's when it was at its worst. And there's really no explanation. I'm kind of lost for words. And I knew I wanted to make a video talking about it because it was just on my mind recently and how I used to do that a lot, how often it was, how much of a problem it was. And oddly enough, how much I kind of enjoyed it. I won't say that I liked it or I fetishized it or glamorized it, or it's just not that I enjoyed it, but it felt like a relief. A kind of relief that nothing else could have given me. And I remember people asking me, a certain person asking me why I engage in those kinds of habits that are self-destructive. And it made me question if I am a self-destructive person. And I don't know if it's just a normal defense mechanism or a normal way to react to pain, that you inflict more pain upon yourself and you realize how inherently wrong or how messed up that is. And maybe I embraced how messed up that was. Maybe I embraced how I am self-destructive and how far, just to see how far I could take it. But I don't know if I am inherently self-destructive. I don't know if that's a character trait that I possess. I don't know if I still have that now, if I'm still capable of doing that. I haven't got any thoughts of doing it. I haven't been tempted to do it since. But I look back at that and I don't hate myself for it. I don't really like myself for it either, but I'm able to talk about it like this. I'm able to talk about it, put it on the internet. I think that's a good sign that I'm over it. I know that I am. There were certain events that I can recall that made me want to do it more, and I think it's not about the certain events, it's about the feeling that it made me feel. Most of those events made me feel left out, and I felt alone. So maybe when I was more lonely, I did it more. If I was accompanied by multiple people at a time, and I was surrounded by people that I loved, and friends in general, then I would be less likely to do it. So you can get these kind of impressions about why you would do it. Maybe you're doing it because of loneliness, but there's no specific answer that you can point towards, and there's no root cause that you can name. And I think that's just something that is formless. And how there's a formless pain that you feel, that it comes out in certain ways, and there are certain habits that you can develop to counteract that or to express that feeling. And some people are self-destructive, and maybe that's what it's kind of what appealed to me. Maybe by inflicting pain upon myself, I could just look at everything and look at all that I was feeling and just admire it. That's really what it felt like. It felt like a glorious act. It felt like I was more human because of that. No matter how painful it was or how bad it might have been. And there's something raw about that. There's something very human about that. And there's no other way I can explain it. And I did just want to make this video to talk about it. I hope I didn't trigger anyone here, or this video was never really intended to give advice to people, or to kind of tell people to do it or not to do it. I just wanted to share my experience about it. And that's really all I'm doing. And I think that I'm able to look back at it now and talk about it comfortably. But I still hold that time dear to me, and there's still something within me that is the same that I've taken from that part of myself, and something within me is still so delicate as that. But now I think I know well enough not to kind of mess with it and not to do that. I know that I don't have to self-destruct to get to that part of me. and I don't have to inflict pain upon myself to feel pain, and I don't need to look at it pain in a physical sense, that I don't need to see blood to feel it. And I think it's something deeper than that I can't really explain. It really is. And I never really wanted to explain it in the first place, but just looking at it and looking at how it feels is kind of, you learn things about yourself, and you learn things about what it means to feel emotions, to be human, to be raw. And I think that's all I wanted to do in this video. And that's the message for today, I guess. And I'll make better videos soon, and I'll see you in those.